Hello, I'm Dasha, and I have hypoparathyroidism, probably like a bunch of you out there. And I'm going to be using an Omnipod to deliver my Forteo. Now that Natpara is out of the way, I've been taking Forteo, and I was taking like 4 or 5 shots a day and feeling awful overnight. And it only made sense to try and do it in a pump. Forteo actually lends itself very well to that because it's shorter acting than Natpara. And so giving it a little bit at a time actually is a good way to deliver it. So I'm going to do it in a couple parts. The first thing we need to do is to take the Forteo out of the Forteo pen and put it into a vial. And we do that using insulin syringes, and we're going to dilute it with sterile saline. Then we'll get to put it in an Omnipod. And you always want to have plenty of alcohol prep pads. So the first thing we're going to do is get the Forteo out of the pen and into a sterile vial. My endocrinologist gave me a vial. It had saline in it. I took all the saline out using a syringe. I'll show you how to do that. And he also gave me a prescription for saline as well as the prescription for Forteo and showed me how to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure your hands are clean. I'm going to do that right now. Clean the hands. Even though you clean your hands, we're still going to do lots and lots of alcohol wipes. Okay, so we're going to take an alcohol wipe. I'm going to take Forteo pen, and any surface we're going to stick a needle on, we're going to wipe it with alcohol, okay? So wipe the top of the Forteo pen, wipe the top of the empty sterile saline or sterile container you have, okay? In the hospital, when you get an IV, they call it scrubbing the hub. Anytime, right before you stick anything in it, put alcohol on, okay? So then, we take a syringe. Now these are in units. Forteo is prescribed in micrograms. These are units, these are insulin units. And what I'm gonna do is I took off the top, and now I'm going to put some air in it. I'm going to open it up a little bit, okay? And then I'm going to take my Forteo. Here's my Forteo. I've used half of it already. Turn it upside down. I'm going to stick the pen into the rubber. I'm going to push air into it. Do you see that? I pushed air into it. And now I'm going to draw out Forteo. Now if you've pushed air into it, you shouldn't actually have any bubbles, but if you do, pull it out. I've got 20. I don't know if you can get a 20. Now if you had bubbles, you would tap it and get them out. Okay, but I don't have any bubbles. And now I'm going to take my freshly alcohol wiped sterile saline empty vial, empty container. I'm going to stick it. See, it's got its own rubber top. I'm going to stick this in. I'm going to press in the 20 units of Forteo. Okay? Take it out. Now there's 20 units of Forteo in here. Now, I also want to have sterile saline. So I'm gonna use more than 20 units, but I'm just gonna show you how this works. Okay, so this is my Forteo pen. When you're done with any sharps, you stick them in sharps container, okay? You don't want that stuff flying around. You can use like a hard Tupperware or anything, but you just gotta make sure your sharps aren't gonna poke anybody, including you. So now we're going to use another fresh alcohol pad. I'm gonna scrub the top of the sterile saline. And just for kicks, we're gonna do the top of the now Forteo container, okay? I'm gonna take another insulin pen, take off the stopper, take off the guard. Again, I'm going to get some air in it. I'm going to take the saline, turn it upside down, stick the needle into it, the rubber stopper, and I'm going to push the air in, and then I'm going to draw out 20 units, let's see, 20 units of sterile saline. Again, I wound up with no bubbles, which is great. So now I've got 20 units of sterile saline. I'm going to stick that in along with the sterile container that has the Forteo. So now I have an even mix, 1-to-1, of Forteo and sterile saline in one container. Now the minimum you can put into an Omnipod is 80 units. So I'm gonna pause now and I'm gonna fill the rest of it up, and then I'll show you how to put the, 85 units into an Omnipod. That's the minimum. So I'm gonna fill up my sterile saline here and my Forteo, and then I'll come back when I've got a full minimum dose. Okay, now I've got the meds, but I haven't filled in my pod yet. So this is my PDM. This is the Personal Diabetes Manager, which we're not using to manage diabetes. This would be a PHM, Personal Hypoparathyroidism Manager. So here it says, it's like, ooh, I don't know if you can see that. Your pod is about to expire. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? So I'll get into programming it later, but for now, I'm just gonna tell you I'm gonna change the pod. So you can either look at your basal rate or you can look at your pod info. Looking at my pod info, I'm gonna click View Pod Details. And it gives me all the stats on it. It says it's gonna expire today at 5:51, so that's soon. It's actually gonna start beeping and bugging me that it's gonna expire soon. But there's a little button here that says Change Pod. So right now my pod is on my upper arm. So I'm gonna have this nearby. I'm gonna click Change Pod, and it says deactivate your pod? I'll say yes. You hear that beep? Now it says no active pod. No active pod. So that means I can take this off now. And where did I put that? I have stuff. Oh, I can't find it. I have stuff to loosen it up. But right now, another thing that also works is just, that those alcohol wipes, or that hand sanitizer will loosen up the adhesive. I did buy special loosen up adhesive stuff, and it actually works just the same as the rubbing alcohol. So now you've loosened it up, you can peel it off. So I'm gonna peel it off. That's it. Really quick. Just peeled it off. There it is. That's the spent pod. So now this is not connected to anything. So we're going to start a brand new pod. It comes in this package with everything you need. So I'm going to open up the package, and inside of the pod we have the syringe in two parts to fill the pod. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the sharp pointy part of the pod, you stick it into the top of it and you twist it in, and then you can take off the top, and that's the thing you're going to stick into the medicine to draw out the medicine, and then into the pod to fill the pod. Okay, let's put this on right now. And normally I do this placed on something solid, but I can't position my iPad that way right now. So you need this to start it. So I'm going to click on Set Up New Pod, and it gives a little illustration of what you want to do. Fill the meds, into the syringe, and then stick the syringe into the little hole. There's really only one place you can stick it on the pod. So first, let's get our meds, okay? So I'm gonna take the top off to expose the pointy part. And just like we did with the insulin thing, I'm gonna open it up, give a little air. I'm gonna take my Forteo and saline mix. I'm gonna stick it in. Remember, it's upside down. I'm gonna push in air first. And then I'm gonna draw down to where it just says min. And we know now that's 85. So I'm right at 85 at min. Okay? And then take the pod, and there's a little hole, and there's even an arrow that points you to the hole. And that's where you're gonna stick the meds. Now, the pod, you want to listen for 2 beeps. Okay, I'm going to stick this in. We're going to listen for 2 beeps. There's a little hole here. I'm sticking in the little hole, and I'm pressing it down slowly. Do you hear that? 2 little beeps. And this thing asks, did you hear the 2 beeps? So I'm going to click next. And now you want them very close to each other. It's communicating. Now's where it's actually setting up the pod. It's gonna prime the pod. So you're gonna hear it make these clicks. There's some cool YouTube teardown videos of Omnipods. You can see the actual, what the clicks are doing. It's brilliant mechanical engineering in there. It's really cool. You should check it out. It's still clicking. Now, usually while this is happening, I'm preparing my next site, the next place I'm going to put my pod. So let's do that. Now, first off, what we do with sharps, cover them. And this one twists off. And the twisted sharp part you can stick in your sharps container. So it'd be nice and safe. So the thing just said, ba-doop. It said the pod is ready. And now you can record, it's optional. You can record, you can say, where do I want to put this on my body? And you can record where it is. You'll know where it's on your body because it'll be on your body. So you don't really need to record that, but it's just a way to remind you to keep switching the sites. So I need to prepare my site. Let's do that. Okay, so the insulin lady who came to train me on it was, first of all, she was terrified that I was using something other than insulin. She's like, I don't know what to tell you to do. And I was like, just show me how this thing works. But the thing she was obsessed about was using 1 million alcohol pads to clean your site. Now, I recently took a shower, so I'm pretty clean. But she really wanted me to get it so that the pad is not even gray, that it just stays white. Wait. Just keep it clean, clean, clean. Because remember, there's going to be a thing living on your skin for 3 days that's going to be stuck inside. And you don't want anything nasty in there, right? You want to be nice and sterile. So nothing nasty gets in your body, because that would suck. Okay? So I'm preparing the back of my arm. The other thing she kept on saying, she's like, it's really hard. She was like this thin. She says, it's really hard. The challenge with this is to find a good hunk of fat. And I was like, maybe that's a challenge for you. That I got plenty of hunks. I'm good. I'm good on fat. We're okay. Now, I'm also very hyperreactive to adhesives on my skin. So, just trick to that. The secret ingredient is Flonase. I have the generic Costco kind, the Allerflow. It's fluticasone propionate. You can get it at any, it's not by prescription anymore, so you can get it. So this is a mild steroid. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna spray it on the site and let it sit there for a bit. You want it to be dry before you put this adhesive on. So we're gonna just spritz a little bit on there. Not looking right. Look at my waddle there. Woohoo! Woo, got it in my face. All right, so putting some stuff on. Let it dry. 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 Whoop. These remind me, it's like, hey, you're taking a really long time to do this, lady. Hurry up. Boop, boop, boop. Let's make this hurry. Also, clean towel, I just did laundry. So you want it to be dry. Okay. So now we have this pod, and it's got your meds in it. It's got these two little wings. I'm gonna peel up the wings a little bit. And then there's this blue thing. This blue thing is a safety. It's covering the needle and the cannula. Now the needle's gonna shoot into your skin once. It's gonna put the cannula in just under your skin, and then the cannula is gonna sit there for 3 days and give you meds. But this is protecting the needle. So it's the one thing you're gonna do that's just sort of like, should I be doing this? Yes. Put some force into it and break it off, okay? Don't be scared. Now those little wings, we're gonna take them off, and the lady told me, she said, hold this like a cupcake. Hold it like a cupcake. So that you have just the adhesive hanging out, okay? Now she said on the arms and legs, you want it to go up and down. You want the orientation of the pod to be up or down, okay? And if it's on any part of your torso, you want it to be horizontal, okay? But I'm gonna put it on the back of my arms, so I'm gonna do it up and down orientation. All right, so you just place it. You don't move it around, you just 1, 2, 3, just place it. Then make sure it sticks all the way around. I got a little wrinkle there, but that's okay. All the way around. Okay. Now, I'm gonna take this and we're gonna say next. I'm gonna say start, sorry. It says, is it in the right place? Confirm. Now I'm gonna do this all quickly because I need to put my hands on my arm again. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab it so that the fat is, hanging out so that the needle can go in well, okay? So I'm gonna do this really quick. I'm gonna click confirm. I'm gonna hold it. Did you hear that? Hear that? Bonk. That was the needle sticking the cannula in. And it says, oh, is the cannula in properly? And the way you can tell is there's this little window. It shows pink. If it doesn't show pink, not in. Mine's in. So it asks, is it in? I say yes. Ta-da! My pod is all set up. I got 3 days. I don't have to do anything till Saturday. This is great. Now I've successfully put in an Omnipod of Forteo with a 1-to-1 ratio of Forteo and saline on my arm. I'm good to go. And you can be too. Give it a shot.